Alright, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story, let's talk about Big Ramy and Dennis James. As you guys probably know by now, Big Ramy has officially landed in the United States to begin his stateside Olympia prep for the last couple weeks prior to the Olympia. And he's going to be finishing off that prep with Dennis James, specifically as his training partner. Now, Dennis James clarified this and said that Chad Nichols is still Big Ramy's guru, but Big Ramy wanted to come to the States and stay at Dennis's house and be comfortable and have kind of a friend to be with here in the United States prior to the Olympia, so he's not too stressed out. He's got somebody to work out with. He's got a comfortable place to stay. So I guess Dennis is just going to be helping him get his food, get his supplements, make sure he gets his training in, and have a good, comfortable place to rest. So Dennis is keeping us updated. He's posted 2 videos so far of him training with Ramy. One video doing some side lateral raises for his delts, and Dennis James is assisting him there. And you can see, you can kind of see his arms. He's kind of wearing, you're not really seeing much, but you can see his arms. And then in the other video, he's wearing a hoodie that you watched prior to this video. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Based on what you can see in this video, can you tell how Ramy is looking here? I know a week or so ago, Ramy posted those arm training videos where his arms looked extremely vascular. He was under really good lighting. He looked like he was in really good shape. But in this picture, the lighting is a lot different, or in this video, the lighting is a lot different. You can't really tell how vascular he is. He doesn't really look that vascular in this video. It's kind of hard to tell, but he definitely looks big. Dennis James, he's a big guy. When he stands next to Ramy, Ramy makes him look small. And Dennis James, like I said, he's a pretty big dude. But I really am rooting for Ramy, man. I really would like to see Ramy do well at this year's Mr. Olympia. My prediction in my prediction video was that Ramy would take 5th. And that's nothing against Ramy. I just think, considering everything that Ramy's been through this year, considering all the circumstances surrounding his prep, all the setbacks that he's had, the fact that he had the virus, the shows that he's missed, the shows that he's prepped for, the Arnold Classic 3rd place placing, which was not what Ramy was hoping for. I just think all these extenuating circumstances this year are not going to lead to the best package from Ramy at the Olympia. I would love for Ramy to bring his best package to the Olympia, but I think if you look at the probability, it just doesn't seem to add up to Ramy being top 3 or winning the Olympia. But I think Ramy is always going to be top 6 caliber guy as long as he doesn't come in completely off. But like I said before, think about the special invite. Ramy got it very late, very close to the Olympia. I think it was like 6 or 7 weeks out that he got the special invite. So he only knew for sure that he could do the Arnold for like 2 months, less than 2 months, or do the Olympia for like less than 2 months. I'm going to talk about the Arnold later in this video, so that was kind of a prelude to that. So Ramy was going to do that Spain show, which I think was like 9 weeks out from the Olympia. That would have given him a lot more time, and the Spain show is where he wanted to qualify. He tested positive, couldn't do that show, waited around a couple weeks and got that special invite. So his prep, the point is, his prep started a lot later than everybody else. So realistically, he has less time to get in shape and focus on the Olympia than everybody else in that lineup has had, because everyone else qualified a lot earlier. But I'd love to see Ramy in the top 3. I'd love to see Ramy prove me wrong and come in the best shape he's ever came in. That would be fantastic to see Ramy, Brandon, Phil, Dexter, those kind of guys in the conversation for the top 3. That would be awesome. But look, man, it's a competition. Not everybody can win, and that's why I've got Ramy in 5th. Not everybody can be a top 3 guy. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Now, next up in the news, I wanted to do this because I thought it was going to be a good comparison here. So Chris Bumstead posted that Christmas tree back update picture yesterday, and we talked about that yesterday. And I mentioned in that video that Breon had also posted a Christmas tree picture. So let's throw up a side-by-side of Bumstead's Christmas tree pose and Breon's Christmas tree pose. They're kind of hitting a similar pose there to show off the Christmas tree. Now, the difference is Bumstead's picture was posted yesterday, so presumably it was taken this week or taken yesterday or recently. Breon posted his picture 2 weeks ago, November 18th. Now, honestly, as a fan, I'm rooting for Chris to win again because now I kind of don't like Breon with some of the stuff that Breon has said about me. But as a commentator, I've got to say, Breon looks like he's sharper than Chris, and he was sharper than Chris 2 weeks ago. He was sharper than Chris is now 2 weeks ago. So as a commentator, I got to say Breon is looking a lot better than Chris from a conditioning standpoint if the pictures of Chris are recent. And I think it's definitely worth pointing out that not only does Breon look sharper in that pose, but Breon's picture is older. But here's the bigger question. Conditioning is obviously important across the board at bodybuilding shows, whether it's bodybuilding, men's physique, classic physique, whatever. But the thing is, conditioning is a little bit less important in classic physique than it is in bodybuilding. In classic physique, they're much more heavily looking at the structure and just the actual look of the physique, the aesthetics, the frame. Conditioning is still important in classic, but in men's open bodybuilding, it's judged a little bit more heavily because they don't have any weight caps in men's open. In classic, they have weight limits per their height. And for a pro, that almost guarantees that no one is really going to be out of shape. But in men's open bodybuilding, where you can get as big as possible for any height, they've kind of got to say, they've got to judge conditioning a little bit harder and say you can't just come in a giant bloated mess, because they can do that. They can weigh whatever they want in men's open bodybuilding. So classic is a little bit different in the sense that pretty much they know everybody is going to be somewhat in shape. So conditioning is judged a little bit less harshly, and they're looking more at the structure of these guys, because that's what you're going to see the biggest difference in. These guys, none of these guys are giants, none of these guys are mass monsters because they're limited. So the biggest difference in their physique is not going to be conditioning, it's going to be the actual structure. So when we talk about Chris and Breon and Terrence and all these guys, none of these guys are going to be out of shape. They're all going to come in shape. They're all going to come in conditioned. Some of them are going to be slightly better conditioned than others. It's not going to be like men's open bodybuilding where some guys come in looking completely just off. So when we talk about Breon being in better shape than Chris, the question is going to be how much does it really matter? Chris isn't going to come in off. That's the point that I'm trying to make. He's not going to come in not conditioned, but Breon will probably come in a little bit sharper, or has Breon peaked too soon? So the question that I pose to you guys is a two-parter. How important is conditioning in classic physique? And if Breon comes in sharper than Chris, how much does that really matter? Keep in mind, Breon and Chris have always pretty much been separated by 1 point. Chris lost to Breon in 18 by 1 point, and Breon lost to Chris in 19 by 1 point. So they're very close. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Now, next up in the news, let's talk about the Arnold Classic, because the Arnold Classic, as it typically happens, should be coming up here in a couple months in March. Realistically, if it were happening on time, we'd be about 3 months away from that Arnold Classic. Now, according to barbend.com, the 2021 Arnold Classic USA is officially delayed, but the exact new dates are unconfirmed. But it is confirmed that the event will not be taking place in March as per usual. Now, I've heard a lot of rumors about the Arnold Classic coming up. As you guys know, last year's Arnold Classic was kind of a giant debacle because the Expo wound up being canceled. The Expo, obviously, a gigantic moneymaker for not only the Arnold Classic, but the city of Columbus, Ohio. And the actual bodybuilding show was almost canceled, and they had limited spectators and all that great, fantastic stuff that we've all experienced all year. So if you go to the official Arnold Classic website, they have on their website right now that the 2021 Arnold Sports Festival USA has been postponed to later in 2021. More info coming soon. So Barbend has a quote from somebody they say is close to Arnold, and they say, Arnold is committed to holding the event only when it is safe for everyone. And it is absurd to guess right now during the biggest spike in coronavirus cases that when hospitals are filling up and almost 3,000 people died today, that May or June will be safe. So they referenced that it might possibly be moved to May or June, and Arnold's person supposedly is saying no, probably not. So I reached out to get some confirmation on this from a representative of the Arnold, Matt Loers. Matt Loers, by the way, great guy, responds super quick. Matt's the best. So I said, hey, Matt, I just saw this article about the Arnold being postponed. I also heard from someone else that the Arnold might not happen at all due to a disagreement between Arnold and the Lormers. I was wondering if you had any insight on the postponement. So Matt says, hello, Nick. Thank you for the note and the interest in the Arnold Sports Festival. At this point, we do not know when the event will be held in 2021. We are looking at a variety of potential new dates, but the situation with COVID-19 is so fluid that it's not clear when it will be safe to have a large indoor gathering. We hope to have more information as soon as possible, but it might be weeks before we have clarity. Thank you again for the interest, and please let me know if you have any questions. So at least that's pretty much official confirmation that the Arnold is not happening in March. Whether or not it's permanently canceled or going to happen at all in 2021, that remains a mystery. But yes, I did hear a rumor. I'll leave it at that. It's a rumor that potentially there was a disagreement to where the Arnold might not happen at all. And we won't go into details on that one because that one's not really confirmed. But I did hear it from a decently credible source. I guess there is kind of a looming possibility / rumor that the Arnold might not even happen, period, in 2021, or potentially ever again in Ohio, at least. And of course, I don't want to speculate too much on rumors, but that same source did tell me weeks ago that the Arnold wasn't going to happen in March. They told me that too, and that came true. So there is the potential that the Arnold could be entirely called off for 2021 and for the foreseeable future, which would be, I mean, that would just suck. I mean, I've been to the Arnold every year for, 12 years now, probably. I didn't even miss last year's. I still went to last year's Arnold Classic despite the fact that the expo and everything was shut down. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed yet already. As always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.